So thanks for sticking around for my story and these slides. The overview of Future Works Alliance. Our goals tonight are to impress upon you the problems are urgent. I think Mara helped me with that a little bit. And to understand that we are the solution, right? There is no Superman, no president can change these things, no governor. There's no Wonder Woman coming. It's a we that needs to solve and that you can actually help. So who am I with this message, right? My name, again, is Anne Gemmell. I've been working in Philadelphia. I was born and raised here in the region. I started a career in education as a teacher. I worked at Mastery Charter School and then co-founded Education Voters, which was really the beginning of my systems thinking. The people in this room, you're probably a systems thinker because you're here. And we're a pretty rare group of folks. Most people think in a very operational direct service way. But I transitioned into economic justice when Barack Obama came onto the scene. I was very inspired to get involved politically and started working on economic justice campaigns with SEIU. And I had a presence at Fight for Philly and was involved in the Occupy movement here in Philadelphia and in DC and New York. That led to a decriminalization effort here in Philadelphia, and then transitioned out of that after Obama was reelected in 2012. Those campaigns ended, and I got involved in early childhood education, back to my roots of education, back to literacy. Very exciting campaign. That was a statewide campaign, transitioned to the local Philly pre-K campaign, and entered into city government with the workforce development department, which was very disrupted by COVID. So the past 3 or 4 years, I was working as a future work specialist, and then COVID hit, and I had to make a decision. Am I going to continue this work, knowing that it's more urgent than ever before, knowing that technology is being expedited by the pandemic, or do I just go get another job? So I decided to launch Future Works Alliance and take all the skills that I have developed over the years with the help of many mentors and many others. I think of myself as a strategic collaboration architect, an equity designer, and a future of work pioneer. And these three things in all of my experience over the past 20 plus years, I won't tell the real number, is converging, I believe, for this moment. And I feel that this is very important work, and I'm very grateful that you're all here. So this presentation really needs to start with a definition of the future work. It's become a buzzword like I've never seen or watched a phrase become a buzzword over the last 4 years. And it's driven by 3 forces: the power of artificial intelligence, the speed of computing that's accelerating and changing industries. When you walk into Acme at 20 years ago, there was no self-checkout option, and now we're moving to a place of Amazon Go. This has very direct impact on our workforce. In just a few years, we have gone from over 70,000 retail cashiers in our region to just above 50,000 in a matter of years. And that 50,000 number is a pre-pandemic number. We don't know where it's going to land pre-pandemic, the number of cashiers. Their average age is 35. They have a high school diploma. They're most likely to be Black and female. What are they going to transition to? And so in the low skill area, low wage area of the workforce, you're seeing a lot of change where people are leaving cashier jobs, going to Amazon, leaving Amazon, trying Instacart, leaving Instacart, trying Uber. A lot of churn, a lot of stress, a lot of disruption. And there's 2 forces working to create talent wars and a lot of displacement. It's creating a city of haves and have-nots. People who are familiar with the city and this country, it's a trend. So this generates problems that I've noticed, and we're not unique in these problems. We lack a diverse civic space to transparently build the coordinated response. Yes, there are some people working on it, but are they in touch with the people who are affected by it? I'm not so sure. We don't have strong bridges to enable, a high school graduate of Philadelphia School District to become, a medical professional or a healthcare professional or a researcher. Why is that picture so uncommon in reality it's because we don't have these strong bridges of, you know, systems where someone can take a year off and pivot in their career, or 2 years to learn and transition. And we lack a community of leaders who grasp the urgency of these deep disparities and the risks of doing things like we usually do them. So I believe that the Future Works Alliance is the solution. I'm creating the solution. I'm iterating the solution. I'm learning this past year. Our mission is to lead diverse and methodical strategic collaborations to align stakeholders. We design and implement valuable, viable, and deeply endorsed solutions in response to this era of rapid technological change. I do not have all the answers. I'm working to crowdsource those answers using a methodology, using voices from community. And what I've learned this past year and over my career is that strategic collaboration is not only essential for responding to the future of work challenges, but it's also incredibly fragile. Strategic collaborations can fall apart very easily. You can have the wrong people involved. You can have toxic positivity. Well, what is that? That means that everyone gets in the room and agrees with each other, and they don't talk about the things and the areas where they don't agree. That's toxic positivity, because it undermines focus and it undermines momentum. And what I've chosen to use with the Future Works Alliance is a tool and a methodology based on hundreds of case studies of strategic collaborations that were successful, identified the pattern of successful strategic collaborations, created a methodology and a software to align with my experience as a political organizer and a coalition builder and a change maker. This tool deeply resonated with me, although it's used primarily in the private sector right now, but all these companies have used the same methodology to solve internal problems, mergers, policies, all kinds of solutions have come out of this methodology, with Shelling Point, who happens to be a founding member and is actually in the room today. So we're using this strategic collaboration, and we tried it out, and I'm here to tell you that the results are really phenomenal. The process is inclusive, it's efficient, it's virtual, it's asynchronous, it protects privacy. So you don't have to worry about whether or not what you submit in the strategic dialogue is going to be, you know, upsetting your boss or upsetting your best friend. So it creates all of the essential components of a successful strategic collaboration are baked into this methodology and software. And it's a set process. With the first one that we operated, we invited hundreds of people. 78 people took us up on the first topic. The first topic was creating a communications plan about future-ready careers. I'll get into that in a minute. And I want to welcome right now, I want to publicly thank the core team, Kate Garazzo, Senna Obereko, and Gary Fredericks. And I'm going to turn it over to Senna to talk about what it was like to donate, you know, and listen to two meetings a week for 4 weeks. This core team donated to this project significant time and energy, and she's here to talk about it today. Please welcome Senna.
Well, Anne told us in the beginning that she was going to put us to work, and as you can see, I'm standing here still working. It's just a phenomenal honor and a pleasure. With this particular project, one of the challenges was really how do we capture the voices and how do we make it all work? And there were so many benefits from serving on the core team that we hadn't anticipated in the beginning. One of those was really around leadership, right? So some key takeaways for us were the leadership skills that as a core team we were able to practice and develop, including using that methodology and the facilitation based on the science of successful strategic collaboration, leveraging the hundreds of case studies that were informing the Shelling Point AI software, and really putting into practice inclusive leadership by providing a voice and a space for everyone's opinions to be heard, including a few charged elements where we had very different opinions, but we have to pay attention to the nuances and needs of the different populations. Also, in terms of just working with the methodology, we have very clear parameters. As you can imagine, when you're getting into some of these opportunities, you wonder, is this really going to be fruitful? Is this going to be the best use of my time? And it really was, because we had those clear parameters. Whenever we started to veer off-center in terms of our focus and the needs of the communications plan. We have anchors through the software and through Anne's guidance to be able to provide us with that structure in that space. And then last but not least, the efficient decision-making. As we know, there's so many opportunities to identify the problems and generate ideas, but the real work comes in moving the work forward, rolling up your sleeves and making some really critical decisions. So we went from blue sky thinking at the beginning of the process to actually in a couple of weeks, making some critical decisions based on the data and moving the work forward. Did I cover everything else?
Well, verse 5. You're well, a couple more slides. Yeah.
Good so far.
Yeah.
And then diverse points of views and empathy. We are in a space right now where if nothing else, if the past 18 months have not shown us that we have to stand in the space of empathy, we're dealing with a lot of critical issues that are not easy to separate, that have to be identified and have to be addressed. And so to be able to be in a space with the core group, to be able to put that to practice and actually see the fruits of our labor was one of the most rewarding, I think, aspects of the work with Anne. So thank you publicly on behalf of the team. And I shared this quote with Anne before, just yesterday afternoon, I believe, but this is how the work moves forward, you know, to really be able to be in a space where we have some clear guidelines, we have a clear sense of where the work may lie, we have the resources, for example, through the Showing Point software, and we have the leadership through individuals like Anne who are willing to roll up, literally roll up their sleeves, focus on the issue at hand, and work on a viable solution. You know, there could be several answers, but the reality is now, based on the work that Anne has put forward and working with the core team, there's a viable solution that's further along because of that commitment. So, thank you, everyone.
So how are we, thank you, Sana, that was really great. I really enjoyed working with the first core team, and I wasn't even sure at the beginning of this that people would volunteer that kind of time, and I had to turn people away from the core team to make it efficient. And then the networking and the people that we've all met and the community that's being built from this is really great too. But another excellent thing that comes out of the strategic collaborations that, you know, several dozen people participate in are new ideas for businesses, new ideas for programs. So outside of the scope of building a communications plan about future ready careers, all these gems and insights came in through the process that could be independent projects, could launch independently. So that's why that light bulb is there, because one of the ideas we saw come out of it is that there's a missing piece of ongoing career management that's affordable for someone like a retail cashier. And so this cycle of introducing dozens of people to problems and a methodology for solutions, and then incubating ideas and launching them with this collaborative process, really creates a funnel for a higher level, higher value future of work consulting work that an alliance of experts is building, coming around this work, coming around me. I have a deep expertise in engagement and deep expertise in public policy as a translator from public sector to private sector interests. So I have the consulting, but there's also amazing consultants that have come into this project that are creating a community of entrepreneurs. I mentioned a little bit about this, the strategic collaboration, the public strategic collaboration show a whole, group, a cohort of people who are juiced about a particular topic, but then get to see how the most effective way to solve problems and work together is. They could then look into the higher value strategic consulting. You could do more authentic engagement inside of an organization with this methodology. And of course, some expertise that several of the founders have in this group is the translation from public to private sector. And all of the research, World Economic Forum, McKinsey, Deloitte, you name it, they're all saying the same thing, that in order for a metro area to become more resilient to the rapid changes ahead, we need to collaborate. But that's hard. But now we have a way to do it, and we're building a community to drive it. The working team is awesome. Like, the people that have come to this project and supported this work have deep expertise. They are mission-driven people. They have diverse viewpoints. They're in the room. Precious Samuels from Samuels Consulting, Ballard Sparks not here. On Point Partners is in Zoom land. Orly Ziwi branding is here in the room. Becca Reffert does web management. Michelle Atherton, she's not on there yet. She's a researcher, come on board. Allison from Slicer Media is here, and Shelling Point, George and Tracy are here. So the team, and there's more people that have just chipped in. Tech Impact was the fiscal sponsor early on, true team effort. Over the past 8 months, I've had the honor of recruiting advisors that will answer my call and will talk to me for an hour or more. They come from the public sector, many of whom also have experience in politics or the private sector or workforce development. Ashley Putnam's in the room. So we have the institutional leaders and experienced public sector folks. We have the technology pros in big data and automation, RPA pros who really just feel such a sense of urgency about the change ahead because they know more than the rest of us about the capacity of the technology. Tracy Wilson-Rossman from Chariot Solutions and Madeline Bayless in her second act from IBM also worked in the 1 foot private sector, 1 foot public sector. We have Malik Brown and Chad Womack from higher education perspective and also national networks and direct service, 1 foot in national networks, 1 foot in direct. And there's more people on the advisory board. I have 15 advisors. I've recruited 58 founders who have contributed dollars or significant in-kind expertise and support to the project. So I'm thrilled to have these supporters and more supporters. And I'm very proud of the diversity that, that has come to this project. Next slide. So what do? We inform, we gather, we engage, we train and consult. And a lot of people do little bits of these things, but nobody's doing them all in a sequence with a methodology, with a laser focus on specific challenges that the future of work is going to deliver to our doorstep faster than we can imagine. We combine PhD expertise with PhDs. Harjeet from the slide before called me a PhD, and I said, "Wow, what do you mean?" He's like, "You know," and I just thought that was an amazing compliment. And no shade to PhDs, we love our PhDs too, but we combine that research with the implementation. Equitable, diverse approach. Anyone can participate in a public strategic collaboration. And then we're building a community of advanced consultants with a breadth of experience in a number of areas. We've had some milestones. I've published 10 columns about future-proofing. We had Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, who's the chair of Future Work in Congress, anchor our first event ever. We really had no money in the bank. We weren't an official C3, but she loved the concept and helped us with that first event. She was amazing. We launched and completed our first open collaboration, the public strategic collaboration. We launched our .tech training series, which we had an earlier one to kind of educate the public about the tech training options. We have our keynote tonight, this event here. Thank you for coming. And we also secured our first consulting contract with the state of PA to create a 5-year future of worker strategy for the governor's administration. I'm also very cognizant of the startup, like what is the experience? How will the public or a leader experience this? We'll go from seeing or hearing about the work to participating at an event or signing up for a strategic collaboration, thinking about contributing to the innovation, perhaps considering consulting for purchasing our consulting for their organizations. And then next slide. Thank you. How are we going to pay for this is always a question. I know that philanthropy has changed. Even though we're a C3, there's very few nonprofits that can exist just from perpetual foundation support. And so it's important to me to be self-sustaining, but we will have a mix of large and small donors, sponsorships for the public strategic collaborations on the front end, and grants for strategic collaborations that have results, which, by the way, there's a flyer here. You can do the QR code and read the document that we have created from that first strategic collaboration. It's a 3-part document that lives on our website. Just check out on the QR code. And then consulting contracts that we pull in through this process, I'm hoping will sustain a rather lean budget. We've already raised over $100,000. Large and small donors who feel an urgency and a sense that this is important work and they want to support it, and contracts of people who recognize the expertise at the Future Works Alliance. And we have a goal of a year 2 operating budget of $250,000. We're not far from that goal, and that would sustain, you know, legitimate compensation for the many people involved in this work. They are experts, and it's a core value of mine, obviously, to compensate people for the work that they do. So that's our goal there. As you can see, not a lot of fat. The plans ahead are in 3 priorities. 1, we want to take that strategic collaboration about the Future Ready communications plan into operation, because if we let journalism or web news dominate the narrative about the future work, we will never stop reading news about robots taking jobs and automation eliminating any opportunity. That is simply not the case. We are going to have jobs that get eliminated, but there's going to be opportunities created. But that's not a part of the narrative, and that's why it's a top priority to operate that communications plan directly to Philadelphians through trusted messengers, using the plan that we've created, the valuable, viable, like widely endorsed plan, putting it into action. So that's a top priority. Launching the 2nd strategic collaboration. If you're a founder, or an advisory, you will weigh in on which one we will do next. My work and thinking on this is organized in 4 pillars. Innovation pillar, to create more resilience for our region, education, talent, and environment. The environmental pillar, we really have no regional strategy to protect our main streets and commercial corridors from e-commerce. E-commerce is inevitable. What is our response going to be? Because brick and mortar pedestrian life is core to this region, small towns throughout Pennsylvania and all of our commercial corridors in the city. We cannot have vacant stores up and down our communities. We need to build a strategy. As Mauro said, and I did not know he was going to say that, we do need a strategy to grow homegrown talent and attract the work from anywhere workers, people that can go anywhere, work from anywhere. We want them to live here because this region is awesome. Education pillar, gender and racial equity and STEAM. You know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done from the middle school level up to the college level to make sure there's greater expanded opportunity in the innovation industries, aka STEAM. And the 3rd priority is building Future Works Alliance so that it's more robust. You know, building up Future Works Alliance as we do the work, building the plane as we fly the plane, so to speak. Next slide. So what I'm asking the people who are listening today, the people in the room, is for you to be one of the 76 founders. Once we get to 76, that's it. You are the 76 most innovative people in this area, and you will forever be known as the one of the 76 that contributed in a way to make this live. This is the range of donations that we're looking for. Of course, I'm not going to stop raising money when we get to 76 founders. There's a lot of imagination here about work that we can do and a vision for expansion. But you know, we need to get to 76 founders, and we need to raise $250,000 total. And there's real benefits to being a founder. You get to meet the amazing people that are also innovators, who get the urgency, who understand the intersection of technology and work and life. You'll get to weigh in on designing and building the future of work playbook for Philadelphia. You'll have promotional opportunities with our great web and social media PR team. You know, all of the events that we do and other opportunities for promoting what you do. And again, as I mentioned, you'll always be a part and known as that high impact innovator community. And lastly, the future is now, and we do need to get to work.
I've had a career where I've had moments of go big or go home, and this is a go big or go home moment, and I hope you'll go big with me. I'm happy to take any questions. I know that was a lot, and you know, we had a time constraint. We just hit the mark on time, but we do have time for questions, right? Okay, great. So if there's any questions from the chat or any questions from the room, I'm happy to open up the floor. Yes, sir.
I'll try.
Okay.
And again, it's Jim Burnett with Vested, and I'm curious, have you engaged smaller businesses? And also from a corporate standpoint, is the Chamber of Commerce some way built into this engagement, and where do they flow? But more importantly, the smaller businesses who they may only need 1 or 2 jobs, but in commercial corridors, as you mentioned, that could be a huge boost for this business.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. You mean engage small businesses to be involved in the as founders? Is that your question?
I'm not more concerned about the founders as I am with the outcomes of the employee.
Yes, yes. Very good question. So as you know, we've seen signing bonuses and a real stratification in the workforce post-pandemic, where Wawa has now raised their minimum, and you know they're doing signing bonuses, and that makes it more difficult for small business to access talent for sure. But my larger concern around small business for the city and commercial corridors is just the ability to compete, period, in the marketplace, let alone for talent. So that's why I believe we need a commercial corridor to support businesses, to help them implement technology that can help them. There's now so much movement in artificial intelligence that you can do plug and play with a lot of tools that small businesses may or may not be aware of. So I think that one of the things that has been discussed in some of the Future Works Alliance discussions is, you know, what do we do to support small, medium-sized businesses so they can keep up with the massive AI power that Target or McDonald's or you know, Walmart is leveraging right now, and the level of service they can almost anticipate the needs. So how do you adjust the marketing? So those conversations are absolutely up. The Future Works Alliance would welcome that conversation, along with the Commerce Department and the Chamber. You know, we're not excluding anyone. This is an open table. To answer your question, the Chamber of Commerce and city government, large institutions are aware of this. They were involved in the Future of Work coalition and work that was happening in 2019 pre-pandemic. But a lot of institutions have been so overwhelmed in just dealing with their own bottom line. I feel like this year is really the year where large institutions will have the breathing room to engage with this work, and it's ready. It's ready now. It's ready to roll. Any questions? Any other questions? Yeah, Madeline, here you go. Okay, there you go.
I just want to piggyback on the conversation, because the one thing that I have discovered, I joined as founding member and served additionally in other capacities because of the passion I have about the impact of technology. And one of the things that I think is a leverage point to your question is the alliance concept itself. So that by bringing together real diversity of some, you know, everything in mosaic, that, and by interacting together in the collaborative way that allows for that openness, a lot of the way to the end results is what kind of partnerships. You know, even the big guys and gals don't get big on their own. It's because Amazon already had a transportation system in the States, right? There already were e-commerce things. So even the large institutions benefit from these concepts. So, and having been involved in AI, the issue of scale is a critical component. So every time we can find a way to break away that advantage, and still give the benefit of whatever it is, the AI, the education, whatever, and make it accessible. And we're gonna find those ways by collaborating, by leveraging on each other's advantages. Because there are advantages that entrepreneurs, immigrants, individual businesses bring to the table. Every industry brings to the table, and we just have to get that to add up to more than the sum of the parts.
Yeah, and I would also add, when we look to operate the communications program, we're gonna prioritize small, medium-sized, minority and women-owned businesses. We have a great community of independent skilled contractors and small businesses. And most of the businesses in Philadelphia are what we call mice, right? They're not elephants, they're mice. And there's a lot of talent and skill, and the Future Works Alliance is intent on prioritizing them when we need videographer or photographer, or, and there's a community here, Rec Philly, that is pre-organizing those professionals for a communications plan like that. And these topics that we're going to tackle, they're going to generate plans that need to be operationalized. And when we operationalize them, there'll be opportunities, I believe, for small businesses to get involved in the solutions. No action on the chat, no Zoom land. Zoom land's quiet, so that's okay. If anyone has any questions after the presentation, I'd be happy to stick around a little bit. I want to thank you all for being here today and supporting this work, and I urge you to please become one of the 76 founders, because you're here in this room. You're already a natural fit because you are here. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you soon. Thanks so much.